Hey, this is Jason.
This is Seth.
And this is the Rough Country Podcast.
5th Gen 4Runner or LC250, which one are you taking? Right now, as it sits, that we have them here on site.
LC250. Less of a build currently in current form.
Yeah.
But I love the new platform.
Yeah.
Fits my needs better.
Yeah. It is sharp.
There's a lot of things. Plus, we got one. We just happened to get a 1958 that has a dealership installed leather package on it. So
I mean, it's definitely got the interior and infotainment upgrades of the newer platforms.
Yeah. Which, Toyota's known for being a little bit behind on that. What's the old saying? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So, what about you?
I'm torn. The 4Runner is just such a dependable, bona fide platform. Whichever way you look at it, the ability to build it out how I'd want it to, overland style, obviously, for my wants and needs.
Right.
We've got that. But on the LC250 dynamic, we've got it coming, from a product standpoint. And so if I had to pick right now, man.
If they're both bone stock right now.
If they were both bone stock, I'd probably go with the 4Runner.
I could see that coming from.
Well, I mean, it's
coming from the Tacoma.
It's a
world.
So the 4Runner we have, it's a 2019. I've got a 2019 Tacoma. Love everything about it. I mean,
right.
And it's all about trade-offs, right? So yes, the trade-off of not having the newer tech and stuff like that. Like I'd like to have heated seats. I don't have that in my Tacoma.
Right.
It's not that they don't have it. Mine just doesn't. But right now I'd rock and roll with the 4Runner.
And for me, currently driving a 22 Tundra, the LC250 checks a lot of boxes that the 4Runner does not. So I'd go with the LC250.
I mean,
and originally, kind of segueing a little bit. Originally, I was pretty hot and heavy on a Sequoia if I was going to go with a SUV.
Well, that's what I was about to add. I mean, is it too small for your life?
I think the Sequoia is too big for my needs. And the Tundra's a good size. I mean, I love my truck. It's still one of the best trucks I've ever had.
Yeah.
But to go to if I was going to intentionally go to an SUV, then I would like to go to a smaller SUV, but not as small as the 4Runner for that matter. Even though I guess a 4Runner, I'm not really sure on the size difference.
It's compared to like my Taco, it's a little interior wise. Like it's not.
Yeah, when I sit in the Land Cruiser, the new Land Cruiser, in the cockpit area, I don't feel as in a car squish
like
as
I do
in
tank.
Yeah, or sardine can like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love how the Land Cruiser, when you sit down in it, comfort level, how it drives, how it handles. I mean, but my biggest hesitation is just all the dynamics of the newer Toyota platforms, the growing pains or figuring some stuff out, that kind of thing. So just that all impacts decision making.
Yeah, that 4Runner, that gen is tried and true.
Right.
It's definitely a workhorse.
Yeah. But I love what Toyota's got going on. I mean, it's, some new proving grounds for some new platforms that obviously we're building out and got a lot of products coming down the pipeline for.
That's right.
Or you could go with the Sprinter van, man.
The Sprinter.
Dude, it's sick, dude.
And that thing got dropped off to us, a month ago or so, 3 weeks ago. Yeah. I was just like, man, what a hoss. And then you jumped in and took it for a test drive, and I was like, I could almost drive this every day.
Yeah.
It is big. If I had a big enough shop to park it in.
Right.
Obviously, it won't fit through my garage door.
Yeah.
But comfortability-wise and drivability, the way it sits is phenomenal. A lot better than what I think a big panel van would be.
No doubt. And Mercedes holding that down,
That's right.
Nice seats, simple, clean dash. Mm-hmm. Now what does throw me off a little bit is the shifter, being
it's weird.
There behind the steering wheel. That's different.
I mean, column shifters, well, obviously showing our age is not that uncommon for me.
Yeah.
But the flow of it,
right,
and how it operates.
I'm just curious, like if somebody hit that thinking it was like a windshield wiper. It's
right.
Like, what do you?
Right. It's like when we drove that
going down the road,
that Datsun mini truck several months ago.
Exactly.
I went to go turn the windshield wipers on and turn the blinker on or something like that because it was a little backwards. But No, I get it. But excited for all three of those builds that we got coming. A lot of good products. Sure. A lot of the good think tanks we've had around it. Everybody kind of gathered the troops and really everybody putting their brains and thoughts into it. So that's definitely gonna be cool.
Right.
Then where do we take them from there? Mm-hmm. So there's the build out, which is the obvious. Then what do we do with them?
Yep. Experiences, environments.
That's right.
Event
trade
trips.
shows.
Right.
Community events. Mm-hmm. Product testing. Across all three of them.
Right.
So that's pretty exciting. Just 2025 we got a lot coming on.
Yeah. And all that kind of happening right now. All at once, kind of all hands on deck.
Yeah, and currently I've been scrolling Instagram and looking at Land Cruiser builds and just drawing some inspiration and just seeing how unique people are building them up.
Sure.
Through different products, through just different styles, everything else. It's pretty entertaining and it looks like a great platform.
Yeah.
Off-road capability from seeing some videos out there and some photos. They look like they're pretty capable.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, we know the 4Runner where it's at, and the Sprinter van's not really off-road as much as it is off-highway.
Right. No, for sure. Yeah, forest roads, right.
It's about
the systems out west.
The Sprinter van's it's the destination vehicle. It's going to get you to that, remote camping spot, to kind of get away and unplug for a little while.
Right, with a larger travel system.
Right.
And
it depends on how they build it. Definitely seen vans built on a full recreational vehicle like RV platform, full beds, kitchenettes, bathrooms.
Right.
And then seen some more built almost as a daily driver, weekend kind of getaway, weekend vehicle where the fold down beds or platform beds and it may be a small wash sink and a portable refrigerator.
Right. There's just so many different ways that a Sprinter van can be utilized.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of vehicles,
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to not only see where we take our build and what products we have in the pipeline coming down for it, but also once we have it done and be able to get out there and with the community, engage with them and see how they're building theirs and asking the age-old question, why?
Right.
And not in a demeaning manner, like, why'd you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But more like, what's your thought process behind this and kind of what inspired you to build it that way?
Right.
Which goes back to the community outreach that 2025 is coming.
Absolutely. A lot coming on that front, no doubt.
Yeah.
And that's a lot, with the 4Runner build. That's, what it's really focused on is 4Runner community. Obviously, we're doing a full build out. So Gaston would, a lot of people have seen him doing a lot of the internal building here in the shop,
Right.
And as we're building, giving context behind our product and some of the context about why we're building it the way we are, walking through that process. Some of it's more conversational, some of it's more install dynamic, and then getting to that place of once we get it built, like you said earlier, getting it into environments, experiences,
and be able to fine tune the whole package,
right?
All the components as well as each individual component.
Yeah, and that's what's so amazing about a lot of these subcategories. Regardless whether you look, from the Sprinter van world and how that breaks down into, okay, you got the Sprinter van world, but then you've got mountain bikers, you've got
surfers,
rock climbers, like how they all kind of personalize, and then the 4Runner community, it's people build them out different ways, and the
from grocery getters to full on.
That's right. Weekend warriors to full-time enthusiasts, and they live out of the thing. So it.
Yeah. What's the guy we met in Oklahoma? Lives out of his 4Runner.
If you want to ask me, I would have remembered.
Sir Williams.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Great guy. Great builds. And pretty hilarious content too.
Yeah.
But it's a prime example of like the extreme side of the build where the guys are living out of it.
Right.
Almost all the time.
And that's so much of it is just understanding these micro communities better within the whatever vehicle platform it is within that space.
That's right.
And just understanding their wants, their needs, their experiences, and us from a manufacturer standpoint being able to
try to check as many boxes. As
provide products to those solutions.
You know, understanding that not everybody's building a 4Runner, prime example. Not everybody's building a 4Runner is loading it down with 500, 600, 800 pounds worth of gear, 1,000 pounds worth of gear, whatever.
Springs.
The spring rates and shock valving is all different from the guy who's building it to just carry the kids to soccer practice.
Right.
You know?
No, absolutely.
Or the mom carrying the kids to soccer practice, whatever. So there's so many differences there. And now with having one in-house and really fine-tuning it and dialing it in, we could try to make sure we check as many boxes as we can.
Yeah. Well, let's go build by build.
Okay.
So let's start with Land Cruiser.
Okay.
Yeah, just talk about products that we are focused on right now, just kind of what we're focusing on right now with that. Then we'll go 4Runner, then Sprinter.
Sure.
So start us out with the Land Cruiser.
So Land Cruiser, we just got our hands. Well, we've had our hands on it for 6 weeks or so now.
Yeah.
1958 edition white.
It's clean.
Super clean. As I said earlier, it had come with a dealer installed leather. So check that one box and reading a lot of Facebook groups and everything else.
Go to the dealer installed leather. How does that? Is that just a dealer by dealer?
Dealer by
decision?
dealer. Yeah. I mean, they're hitting up a shop locally to them and who's doing, leather conversions and saying, hey, can you put a leather kit on this?
Gotcha. Cool.
And good quality leather. So we start with that base platform, and through scrolling social feeds and the old intranet. It seems like the 1958 is pretty much the main build package.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided to go with that model,
right,
or submodel, and then building up from there. Starting obviously with basics: 2-inch spacer kit, 3.5-inch full suspension kit, control arms, struts, shocks, springs, everything, and then
running boards.
Going to running boards, from static boards to power boards, floor liners, cargo mats, storage solutions, the roof rack, and then a platform rack, which I'm really excited about the platform rack.
Likewise.
We could dig into that in a little bit. Hidden winches and front bumpers and light mounts and light accessories, light controllers. A lot of the basics that we do, or I shouldn't say basics, like the core of the brand.
A lot of the standard product offerings
that's right,
that we come out with.
That's right.
For different platforms.
And then going from there, seeing where it goes.
Yeah.
Fender flares, and because we make the fender flares in house, we could control not only the quality but also the design aspect,
right,
and how many different designs we want to offer for the size, the coverage.
And for a lot of the newer Toyota platform, just in specific, the new Land Cruiser and the 24 Tacoma, wheel offerings that have the right
offset,
the right parameters of offsets that people are wanting to go for.
Mm-hmm.
And because, the stance on them, even with a zero offset is pretty aggressive.
Yes.
So a lot of guys running a higher positive offset and, making sure that we're doing our wheel fitment to accommodate for a lot of that.
And then make sure, again, going back to fender flares, make sure that we could supply a product to the consumer that keeps them legal in their states with tire coverage and everything else.
That's right.
So, going back to the Land Cruiser, sorry, on the build. So most of the core products that we offer, we're pumping out for the Land Cruiser. And then we'll dial it down once we get those main products out. We'll dial it down a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And then the platform rack. Sorry.
Yeah. Which is going to integrate into a lot of.
We could almost
models.
do a whole episode on the platform rack.
Right.
On the diversity of it, how well it's going to be applicated across all platforms.
Yeah.
Or how universal it is, but still vehicle specific, and then the attachments and the T-slots and everything else.
Right, lighting and all the things.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's
so that's
save it for a later date.
Save it for a later date once we drop that product.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at with the Land Cruiser.
Yeah.
So you want to go to Sprinter van or you want to do a 4Runner?
Let's do Sprinter van. which I know we're both excited about.
Yeah, Sprinter van's a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously it's the same core products, static boards, power boards, front rear bumpers, winches, or winch mounting points. The Sprinter van offers a few other additional things. Molly panels, full height ladder.
Yeah.
Again, platform rack.
And then what direction we want to go on the interior with.
And I think there's still a lot of internal discussion on where we want to go.
That's right.
Because we're ramping up our event schedule. Do we want to make it where it's almost a walk-through showroom, or do we want to make it to where we could
control UCAs, all that,
everything mounted somewhere, or do we want to go to where we could really utilize it for these long hauls?
We may be able to do both.
Or then again, trying to find a way to do both.
Yeah.
Because we are located in West Tennessee, and a lot of overland, especially van expos, events, trade shows, a lot of them are out west,
right?
Or in the Rocky Mountain region. So, it's a haul for us, but we're excited to do it.
Yeah,
sure.
No doubt.
Trying to think some other key items on the Sprinter van.
Yeah.
Lighting accessories. It goes. A lot of the builds are circled around some of these core products that we offer,
right?
Especially because so many of them are manufactured in house. We could control a lot of things on those. But there's always room for growth and room for new ideas.
Yeah. Were you, with it being a 4-wheel drive, were you surprised with how high it's at?
Extremely surprised.
Yeah.
So much so that I've probably read the window sticker 4 or 5 times to see if it had any
just
kind of
double
Mercedes dealership added lift to it. It's big.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I could find that's added, like an add-on accessory, is a flooring. The back flooring is like a cargo flooring has been added. But other than that, everything looks pretty stock.
Yeah.
It's a 144 high roof. We went with that
and
platform.
It is a 2024.
Yeah, 2024 Mercedes Sprinter, all-wheel drive. I said 144-inch wheelbase, high roof. And we went with that platform because that seems to be the most popular for the everyday use.
Right.
Not saying 170s are never built. It's just a 144 seems to be the higher in demand.
Yeah.
And eventually, I'm sure we'll jump into the 170 and probably the Ram ProMaster, and what other keep going down that van route.
Yeah,
it's a whole new category to us, and we're pretty excited about it.
And we're always looking for the van community. We're always looking for feedback from van users.
That's right. That's right.
Now that we're kind of getting more exposure about us entering in that space and putting some intentional focus on it, getting some.
Yeah.
Some
so,
there.
if anybody has any suggestions, thoughts, ideas, share them with us. We'd love to hear.
Yeah.
Especially the unique items that are in high demand or not demand. What's the word we're looking for? That there's a void in the market.
Sure.
It's
like my cousin, big mountain biker. They use vans all the time, so it's just like picking his brain on, man, what's the struggle of them not doing full out conversions.
That's right.
They're not doing full interior conversions, but they are personalizing them for their active outdoor lifestyle. And so like things with like lighting and certain fab products, racks, things like that, to where they don't want to spend just a gazillion amount of dollars, but they want a good quality product at a cost-effective price. And it's like, okay, if we can,
that's right,
we can crush that.
No, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So then we'll move on to the 4Runner, which we've talked about briefly. And those are the 4Runner, Land Cruiser, and Sprinter van are our 3 biggest in-house projects we have going on right now.
As of current, yeah.
And as we have new projects come up, obviously we'll discuss those. And again, we'd love feedback from the community on it.
Yeah.
So the 4Runner, thoughts on the 4Runner?
Man, it's been out. That 5th gen has been out for, it's a bit of 09? Yeah, 09 to now.
Yeah, that's just 24.
That's just wild.
Yeah. And then thoughts on the 25.
Yeah.
We could touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
I've
seen some different feedback.
I've seen some reels out there of them. Seen some stories on them, and man, they look killer.
Yeah, they look sick. But yeah, so 4Runner we have right now. It's, I would say, throughout the build process of where it stands currently here in the shop, it's 30% along the way. From getting the suspension on. Gaston doing a deep dive on that. How we're building out our suspension on that. Wheels and tires, obviously, just got front bumper on it. So it's making good progress, and definitely excited to start getting some of that content cranked out.
What wheels we go with that on?
The 90.
The 90 series bronze wheels?
Yep.
God, it's such a good looking wheel.
Is that what's on your truck right now?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little biased, but it's a beautiful wheel.
No, it's a good looking wheel. It's 18.
Okay.
18-inch wheel. So it looks good as it sits right now, which I look forward to people seeing it.
Yeah.
Which is good. So yeah, that's in process, and all that. Like we talked about earlier, it's just putting a priority and putting attention around the 4Runner that platform that has been out for a long time. A lot of people have them now, whether it's secondhand or whether they bought. No, for sure. And I mean, even now, people are still buying the 2024 like crazy, even with the 2025 coming out. So, making sure us as a company, are we offering everything we need to for that platform, and what can we do better, and how can we just educate more people around what we have and why they should build their systems and rigs with our product on their 4Runner.
That's right.
And so that's what this project is all about, and we're excited about it, and then definitely excited to be able to actually get it out in real world environments, whether it's on road.
I believe that's the reason we went with the 19 instead of a brand new 2024.
Right.
It's just so we don't. Maybe selfishly, we don't feel a little guilty if we smack it against a rock a couple times.
Get a little trail boo-boos.
Yeah, a little trail rash never hurt nobody.
Yeah, count me in.
That's right. It's gonna be fun.
Right, no doubt.
I'd love to take it out west.
And all the as we're talking, all these builds will show up in different events coming up.
That's right.
Like we talked about, different
some same events, some different events.
That's right. Yeah. So as people are listening and wondering what it looks like, it's amazing with the capacity we have in current times to generate content and to get that information out through digital platforms, whether it's social media or the podcast. Right. But there's always going to be a dynamic of seeing it in person, and whether you want to sit in it,
touch
just
it, feel it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Right.
So, making sure that we add that value in every way possible as we bring these builds, and letting people know where we're showing up at, and hey, come check it out for yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of good builds going on right now with the intention to get these rigs places, a lot of content coming out. So, as we're talking about these builds, obviously once we get the product to market, to the finish line, roughcountry.com, through our dealer network, all those resources of getting those products on your build, but then also all the content that we're kicking out, YouTube, social media, people just keep up with that.
Sure.
And, obviously you have a list of a lot of different places that we're going to be getting them to, and, hitting the road with these builds.
Yeah. We have a growing event list for next year. So we're going to break into that in another episode for sure.
For more episodes or information, head on over to roughcountry.com/podcast.